Today I want to answer one of the questions I get a lot. We'll go step by step through how much capital you need to actually trade for a living, trade full time. I'm going to share my perspective in a non-BS approach because ultimately we're not trying to flip account here, we're trying to make a living out of this, and I'm going to share what I do, what things you can do, how you can calculate it, and come up with a good number of how much capital you need to trade for a living. Let's dive right in. Alright, so first things first, I want to say there's no perfect answer here. I cannot come up with any kind of number for everyone. It's not going to match every single profile. People have different risk parameters, different drawdowns they're comfortable with, and the number that works for you might not work for someone else. So you can take steps to calculate how much capital you need for your trading, but it will be different and there's no perfect answer for everyone out there. So a good measure to begin with is to have at least 3 to 4 times your monthly expenses covered. And people are so used to live paycheck to paycheck that they don't care about like saving money and everything and having buffer. But in trading, buffer is so important, so crucial. If you only make what you spend in trading, you'll be in a lot of trouble. Because you have months where you have drawdowns, you lose money, you might not make any money for a few months, and you gotta be able to pay your expenses anyway. So you need to have some buffer there. 3 to 4 times your monthly expenses and trading income is a good place to start. You could go, of course, way beyond that. You can make 10 times your monthly expenses ideally, but 3 to 4 times is fine to be able to start with. What you can do is look at your returns from trading over like a 6-month to 12-month period, ideally even longer than that, to be able to figure out how much returns you make per month on average, like how much percent of your account you make per month, and then go with that number and figure out how much you need to have to be able to cover 3 to 4 times your expenses with that monthly return. If you have any kind of prop firm account where you trade capital for a prop firm or an investor and you have a profit split, then take that profit split into account. You don't want to be left and like calculate this wrong and then you gotta pay that prop firm again at the end of the month, then you don't have enough for your expenses. That is not how you do it. Now, I'm not a math teacher here, I'm not gonna tell you exactly how to calculate it, but go figure it out yourself. Take your average 6-month to 12-month returns, divide it by month, figure this out, how much you make on average over the long term, and then go calculate how much capital you need to be able to cover 3 to 4 times your expenses. Over the years, I've come to figure out roughly a sweet spot for my own trading. And that's not based on any kind of real measures, just based on what I like to have and what I feel good with. And I found that right around the $500,000 mark is, for me, a sweet spot. If I can trade, I can make decent returns. I don't have to like live on $1,000, $2,000 a month. I can really kind of go and travel the world, stay in nice hotels, and I'm pretty good with that. So 500K is around my sweet spot. Now, this could be different for you, it could be different for me. And I understand for sure that you won't get there in like a week or a month. This took me about 7 years of trading full-time to build to that level, and it might take you less time or more time, but right, that is for me the sweet spot. Now again, it'll be different for you. Maybe you're more like a scalper or a day trader, you might need less capital to be able to make the same returns. Maybe someone who trades higher time frame even, you might need even more capital, you might go for like $1 million eventually. Don't forget that you can get there with prop firm capital too. You don't have to have all your own money. For me now, it's my own money and I'm comfortable with that at this point. But it could be for you prop firm capital, it could be investors that help you get to that level. What I do that also help is I split my trading into different accounts. So I have now around 4 accounts, more or less, which are diversified. So I have an account for investing long-term, which I do like long-term trading in, mostly in stocks and ETFs, and a little bit of bonds also. So that account is a bit bigger than the other ones, but it has my more long-term perspective and I can make some good returns on it because I still trade it frequently, but it's a lot lower risk and more passive in that case. Then I've got an account for my algos, which run like 24/5, which are basically strategies that I coded and they trade all the time in the Forex market. Also trading indices. That's also a fairly big account, but not as big as the investing account. Then I've got below that my swing trading account, which is based on me trading the daily chart manually. Now this account is a little bit smaller than the other ones, simply because I need to take my time to do it. And I tend to get good returns, even better than my investing account, but it does take my time. And I don't want my whole trading to be relying on my time and the chart I look at and my day-to-day feelings and kind of things that happens on a day-to-day basis. And lastly, I've got a like small crypto account, which is about only $20,000 now, maybe a bit more now because of the Bitcoin rise. But that account is basically only for cryptos. I trade cryptos in it, and that's all I do with it. It's a fairly small account, but it's there on the side to kind of supplement everything. The returns I make in this are much bigger in percentages, but they are still in small amounts of money overall. So you gotta figure this out for yourself. I mean, you don't start with like 500K in one account, boom, one day and that's it. You go at it over time. You increase your account size as you go forward over time slowly. You put money in it every month. That's what I do now even these days, is every time I earn money, I keep some in the account. Every time I earn money in my business or other ways, I also invest this back to trading so that way I can grow my account over time. This is really how it's done. You don't want to go and try to get there all in one day. At the same time, you don't want to go and be lazy about it and kind of hope for the best. That doesn't work either. I found that the best traders were able to grow their account, focus first on being consistent with it, being able to execute the right rules, taking the right trades, and don't really worry about the money too much. I know it can be tough to figure out how am I going to get to 500k or a million or something in the future. This takes time and you go at it over time slowly. So any questions, put them in the comment section below. Let me know what is the account size you target in the comment section below. If you want to see my process on how to invest trading profits or profits in general to trading to make even bigger returns, check out this video over here. I go through my money management principle, sharing how to reinvest the profit, bunch of things you can do to maximize the return, how to save some money too, and a cool way to look at things that way. So check out this video here in the corner, and I'll catch you back there to dive more into that stuff. Ciao.